Well, it seems like it's up and down for almost everyone. And perhaps not just us in this circle, but also everyone in the world, right? I think this is like another chance for us to look deeply, right? Since the Lunar New Year just came by, a second chance to reflect on what we want. That's as we set goals, right? Sometimes we will have certain wish for a kind of outcome to happen to smoothen our progress in the world, be it self-development or in society or in the way that you want to live. We are only human, right? So we do want to have certain good conditions to help us. But what happens when there's obstacles coming in when you least expect it? How do you practice around it? Do you try to force your way through it to try to control everything, or do you let go of all the wishful thinking? Right? As much as we want to be happy in life, we want to have comfortable circumstances, but sometimes it's not up to us to choose what happens around us as much as we try to manifest. And then it brings us back to the person that we are, that's sitting right here. What is life to us? What is life to you? Beyond material comfort, for example, what is life really to you? If you can just strip off your status, career goals, what is life really to you about? How do you want to live life? What do you think you're here for? All right, so gathering from all the sharings, it seems like you all have typed down things that you can actually do for yourself, right? It points back towards yourself. Man, that's the answer in life. That's the answer to all problems in the world, isn't it? But why is it that we still get shaken when things don't go our way? That's when we are put away from our center, or you can get lost in whatever you're pursuing. When you put too much devotion into it. Okay, don't get me wrong, but devotion in work or other things external of yourself, that is important, right? But you want to do it with mindfulness, meaning to say that you want to be there while you're doing it. So there's a difference between being mindful and being absorbed into whatever goals you have, be it trying to foster relationships, trying to fulfill any projects or any career goals. You see, when you are too absorbed into something, and then you are actually giving yourself away to the world, not in a compassionate way, but in a way that you just throw your power outside, that it becomes very easy for the winds to rock you. You're not really there anymore. Whatever circumstances there are outside, whatever outcomes there are, it will affect you because you're not truly there. You're not being present. Everything is it's like an object referral that points back to your happiness. So we want to try to prevent that. In mindfulness, it means that you can be there. That's why we always emphasize on your breathing, that you try to be conscious of your breath in whatever you're doing so that you know that you are there. You know that you are home in that moment. And that can prevent you from being put away. Because if you are not really there, then how can you be truly present to the things that you're doing? How can you be truly devoted when you are unaware of your energies, you're unaware of what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and perhaps you're also unaware of your purpose for doing something? I like to think of it as that every time when we human beings pursue something, it is out of goodwill towards ourselves and others, because we have an idea of what might be suitable for the situation. And that's why we do it, right? We want to sustain well-being, and we want to prevent suffering. But then things can pile up. We can be very obsessive about the things that we're doing, and then we throw ourselves too much outside. And that's where we split ourselves up. There's so many things to fulfill. And then you forget why you set out in the first place. For example, why do you go to college? Why do you apply for a job? Why do you continue being in a job? Things like this. but how closely connected are you to the meaning that you put on the things? And are you also aware of the changes that has already happened? So where are you right now in life? I'm not saying what are your achievements. Where are you? Meaning that are you truly present? Are you connected towards yourself? Are you here? Are you now? As much as you want to foster relationships, you want to feel love, you want to be present, you want to exist, but you need to bring your full self into it, into this moment. And then some people can ask, then, who am I, right? Or why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? But the truth about who you are, it's not about what others say about you. It's not about the images you paint about yourself. But it's about how much have you fully arrived into the present moment? How aware are you that you're alive, that you have come so far? To be present, to truly exist, to have deep connections with the world, with others, to have meaningful and beautiful moments. It's about how you face the world, how you see the world. Do you see it as though there's a lot of limitations preventing you from being happy, preventing you from doing what you want, being who you are? And a lot of these things can come from the mind, right? A lot of these mental obstacles that can come up that prevent us from living our truest self, to regain our truest potential, I would say, the potential to be happy, to be at peace. So if you can all take a step back and pause, really pause, that's where you could see that the world is changing. Everything is a constant flux. Yourself, your thoughts, your emotions, every single thing changes rapidly. Then how can you remain calm in that moment? By virtue of asking this question is to realize that you are the person who is aware. You are the person who is actually in control of the way you want to feel, the way you want to be. And it's not so difficult. It's not a philosophy. It is a practice. It is a remembrance. That's why the word sati or smriti in Sanskrit, which is the word for right mindfulness, it can also be translated as right remembrance. To remember that you're here, you're now. And the world is kind of your playground. It's an adventure. It's not for you to live with fears and anxiety, to live as though you're restricted from feeling free and peaceful. Because all these mental constructs that we fabricate in our heads. And that fabrication comes when we throw ourselves out there, forgetting to be there. And that's why sometimes we may think that there are people in front of us in our lives that are preventing us from doing what we want. Oh, you're not holistic. You don't allow me to live a spiritual life. You're not calm enough. You make me anxious all the time. You're full of emotional bullshit, and it drains me. That I don't have time for myself. Stuff like this. Right? Who wouldn't want a perfect outcome outside, right? But then you forget. You can forget about yourself in the picture. That you have a practice. You know what's important to you. You know that you want to be peaceful and calm. You want to have deep, meaningful connections. You can actually start by having that connection towards yourself. And when you're connected to yourself, you become real. The world becomes real. Everything around you becomes real. You get to see clearly that in each and every moment, you do have a choice to choose how to respond and how to be in that moment, how to live. And then you can take one step at a time. Yeah? That's why you practice mindful walking, right? Is to know that you can only live with each footstep. You can't leave 10 footsteps or 2 footsteps at one time. It's just 1 footstep at a time, 1 breath at a time. And it is how perhaps you want to journey in life, for it is precious to to be alive. When you can be this deeply connected to yourself in the present moment, you become very aware of the do's and don'ts in every situation. Because now you know that you are in control. Everything can be a flux. The earth can be spinning, seasons will change, right? We're orbiting the sun at the same time, but the earth is still round. It is still beautiful. And if you stare closely at the earth, each and every single moment it's spinning, but it doesn't feel like it's spinning. Like right now, you're sitting here. Can you feel that we're traveling at high speeds in space? Can you see that we're spinning pretty rapidly? You can't feel it, right? And that's how we can be grounded. By knowing that everything changes, but we are still beautiful, no matter what. You're still whole. As long as you're connected to your breathing, to your footsteps, you're always whole. You're always here. It never leaves you, this peace, this wisdom, this groundedness.